famous man objected to a blue plaque being placed in his honour on the house where he was born in Hindford Street, even though he no longer lives there, and the current owners welcomed the idea. Straight ahead is Belfast's answer to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Albert Memorial Clock. Designed in 1865 by W.J. Barr as a tribute to Prince Albert, the husband and consort of Queen Victoria. As a result of being built on wooden piles on marshy, reclaimed land around the River Farset, the clock tower leans 1 metre to the right and 1 metre backwards. It would have toppled over altogether, but for renovation work carried out. Just ahead and on the left is a large ceramic fish called the Salmon of Knowledge by Belfast artist John Kindness. It's there to celebrate the return of salmon to the River Lagan. It is also said that if you kiss the Salmon of Knowledge, you will become more intelligent. That's as believable as the story of the Blarney Stone. Also on your left-hand side is the Lagan Weir, completed in 1994 at a cost of £14 million, but it turned out to be money well spent, as it now keeps the River Lagan at an artificial high tide. Because the river is now cleaner, salmon were able to be reintroduced to the river in 1994, after an absence of over 200 years, and have been returning to breed ever since. Now move from County Antrim into County Down by way of the Queen Elizabeth Bridge. The Titanic boat tour operates from here, and your city sightseeing ticket can be upgraded to include the tour of the Titanic Quarter by boat. Coming up is our stop for the Odyssey Complex and the Premier Inn Hotel. If you're leaving us here, please remember to take your headphones and all of your belongings with you. Project in the British Isles, the Titanic Quarter. This area was previously known as Queen's Island and was the hub of the Belfast shipbuilding industry. It is now home to the Titanic experience. Ahead on the left is the SS Nomadic, the last of the White Star Line vessels in existence. The Nomadic was built as a tender for the Titanic. now fully restored to its 1912 luxury, the Nomadic is open to the public. Coming into view is the incredible Titanic experience. The building that's bringing so many more people to Belfast than ever before. Built at a cost of £97 million, it's been worth every penny. It's not a museum, it's an experience, and one that most people won't soon forget. Welcome on board if you are joining or rejoining us here. The large red brick building on our left is the original offices of Harland and Wolff. Behind this building, Titanic and Olympic were built side by side. When launched, the Titanic was the largest ship in the world and the heaviest weight man had ever moved. But Olympic was by far the most successful of the 3 Olympic-class ocean liners launched. After 20 years' service, Olympic had attained the nickname Old Reliable. Look to the left to see where Titanic was launched on the 31st of May 1911. 100,000 people turned out to watch the event, but it was all over in just 62 seconds. In keeping with the White Star Line's traditional policy, the ship was not formally named or christened with champagne. Many felt this tradition was tempting fate, and maybe it was, as the Titanic was not their only tragedy, nor was it their first, as both the Naronic and Atlantic were also lost well before the Titanic. Ahead on the left is the HMS Caroline, a C-class light cruiser from the First World War, brought to Belfast in 1924. She is the last surviving ship from the Battle of Jutland in 1916. She has been floating on top of the water for most of the time that the Titanic has been underneath the water. She received a £12 million lottery grant to enable the ship to be restored. Coast on the route up to the Giant's Causeway. The Tom Hanks produced movie, City of Ember, was also filmed at Titanic Studios. Tom Hanks and Bill Murray came here after scouring Europe for a set big enough to build the entire City of Ember set inside. This is our stop for the Titanic experience, and by far our most popular stop. All the buses stop here automatically and usually arrive here at both 5 minutes past the hour and 35 minutes past the hour. The buses only pick up at these gates on this side of the road. If you're leaving us here, please remember to take your headphones and all of your belongings with you. And yet how many people remember that ship's name? Everyone knows the name Titanic now, but even that wasn't always the case. The interest in Titanic does seem to be directly linked to the films made about it, with the 1958 film A Night to Remember certainly attracting public interest again. Then movies like the James Cameron film Titanic, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, brought the Titanic story to a much younger audience. But no matter how the Titanic phenomena came about, it certainly played a big part in the rejuvenation of Belfast. It's another reason for people wanting to visit Belfast. Located down to the left is a latecomer to industrial Belfast, a company called Short Brothers. They arrived here in the mid-1930s, just in time to play a major part in the war effort. They built 12 million aircraft components for Allied aircraft during World War II, as well as two very important aircraft of their own. One was the Short Sunderland, a flying boat used extensively during World War II for search and rescue missions for downed aircrew, and it was very successful. The other plane was a bomber, the Short Stirling, a 4-engine heavy bomber, one of Britain's first. This was a plane that could reach and bomb Germany, and was one of the reasons that Belfast would find itself a target for the Luftwaffe in 1941. We're about to cross Queen's Bridge, which was opened in 1849, the year that Queen Victoria chose to visit Belfast. It was hoped that she would grant Belfast the honour of city status, in recognition of Belfast's remarkable industrial development in the first half of the 19th century. But she only stayed in Belfast for 4.5 hours, and in her haste to leave, she forgot, or probably never intended, to grant Belfast the city status it so craved. Belfast would have to wait nearly 40 years before becoming a city in 1888. To the left of the bridge you will see the Waterfront Hall, one of Europe's leading auditoriums and conference centres. At the end of the bridge, the metal sculpture of a woman holding a large ring in the air is called the Beacon of Hope, symbolising the harmonised. Whilst watching his son ride his wooden-wheeled tricycle up and down the bumpy, cobbled Belfast streets, he came up with the idea of fitting it with inflated tubes made from canvas and liquid rubber. He patented his invention using the word pneumatic later the same year. This was the beginnings of the Dunlop brand, now familiar worldwide. Welcome on board if you are joining or rejoining us here. The City Hall, coming up ahead on the right, was built in 1906 to show off to the world how successful industrial Belfast had become. The City Hall is decorated inside with 4 types of Italian marble and is surrounded by statues of men that brought Belfast into its industrial era. There is also a statue of Queen Victoria. The City Hall has recently been restored to its former glory. Free walking tours of the building are available. For more information about tours around the City Hall, call in to the Irish Tour Tickets office, located opposite the Grand Opera House. The back of the City Hall forms the traditional business district of the city and is known as the Linen Quarter, whilst the front of the City Hall faces the many shopping outlets of Belfast. Beside the City Hall are 2 Titanic memorials, which is where locals commemorate the loss of Titanic. This is not to be confused with the Titanic Quarter, where they celebrate not just the birth of Titanic, but the thousands of other ships also built in Belfast. We are approaching Finishing our stop for the Irish Tour Tickets Tourist Information Centre, the Crown Bar, the Europa Hotel, the Grand Opera House and the bus and train station. If you're leaving us here, please remember